Hello everybody, welcome back to Style Me Hannah and welcome to a new video series. I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and it means that a whole bunch of you can finally start your sewing journey because this is quite literally your first step. Before we get into it though, grab something nice and delicious to drink. I've got a coffee this morning. It is quite early in the morning and it is quite cold. A nice coffee is very welcome. Other than that, let's get straight into it. Oh, and yes, I did cut bangs and I have dyed my hair blonde. I feel like Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, you know, the first season when she constantly changes her hair. I feel like that's me, but I think I've landed on hairstyle that I really like. I'm still just trying to learn how to style this whole situation. But I do have a little half up, half down situation and I will get better, I promise. What is a beginner sewing guide? This is for people that want to start their sewing journey. They want to learn how to make their own clothes. They are tired of fast fashion. They're tired of things not lasting. And they just want to express their creativity in a very hands-on way. And essentially, I've had a few conversations with people and they always say they don't know where to start. They don't know how to learn. A lot of people don't have access to grannies and people that can teach them. A lot of people are self-taught, and I think it can be very daunting and overwhelming when you're first starting out because it is right. You don't know where to start. You don't know what machine you need to get. You don't know if you need a digitalized one or a non-digitalized one. It's all just very information overload. And I'm hoping that with this series, I'm able to help people finally start their sewing journey. And everything is going to be free. The PDFs that are going to be included are going to be free resources for everyone to use. I will include a link down below that you can go and download this and you can use it and do it in your own time. It's completely up to you. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why must I learn how to make my own clothes? I can literally go on Shein and Temu and order it for like 10 Rand. And fair enough, I understand. But the thing is that creative people like to express themselves, and especially through clothing. I think it's quite important to show a piece of your personality through what you wear. If you don't like sewing and you don't like fashion and clothing, obviously this isn't the hobby for you. But if you are interested in being like, oh, I feel like I need a dress for this weekend, and then you go and get some fabric and you whip up your dress that fits you perfectly, that is exactly the fabric that you want, the style that you want, then this is the video for you. This is the video series for you. It is a labor of love. You do need to put some hours into getting better. No regrets at all. I absolutely love sewing, and I was somebody that hated sewing before. I did not want to touch sewing. I got taught how to sew properly and took all the noise out and went straight for the basics, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me because it made so much more sense than getting inundated with information and just feeling overwhelmed. So this is episode 1 and we're going to be starting right at the beginning in terms of sewing machine and stitches, and then I've also included some machine exercises for you to practice. But before we get into any stitches and machine exercises, we need a machine. When I first learned how to sew, I bought a very basic Singer machine. I think I actually bought it for 800 bucks, but when I took it to go get service for my final practical, I said that it was pretty much worthless. It got me into sewing and it actually helped me finish my final prac. So it did its intended purpose. It helped me sew. And that is what you guys need to keep in mind when looking for a machine. You don't need a fancy machine. The more complicated your machine, the more overwhelmed you're going to feel. Start with a very basic machine. You don't need the ones with all the bells and whistles. I would say if it has a straight stitch, a zigzag stitch, and a buttonhole setting or stitch, that is what you are looking for. I'll even whack up a picture of my first sewing machine. It was ancient, but she was good to me. She did me good. Now, I haven't bought a machine brand new before. I've always bought them secondhand. There are tons of sewing machines on Facebook Marketplace at the moment. What I would suggest is definitely looking on there, looking on your community WhatsApp groups, see if anybody is in the area that is looking to get rid of their sewing machine for a fair price. I would do your research, obviously make sure that you're not getting ripped off, and most of the time they're open to bargaining down, which is amazing, and therefore you're getting a machine without committing hugely financially. Obviously, when you are shopping on Facebook Marketplace and whatnot, please be safe. Make sure that the ad is legit. Make sure that you take someone with you when you go and pick up your machine, and deal with cash only or EFT only once you have received your machine. Also, ask for photos, ask for videos. You have every right to ask for those photos and videos, and make sure that you are happy with your machine. Do not feel pressured to buy the machine once you are there and maybe you see that something isn't 100% right. I feel like in terms of brands, Brother are really good. Singer, the heavy duty machines are really good, I've heard. I love Bernina and the Brunette range. I don't think you can go too wrong with machines. In terms of price, I would say don't pay more than 6 to 10,000 Rand. I am going to look on Facebook Marketplace and I'm going to pop up screen record of what I have found. There's a Brother one. So you get sewing machines and you get embroidery machines. Just make sure what you're buying is a sewing machine, not an embroidery machine. Like this one here is an embroidery machine. So yeah, you're not looking for those. Those can get hella expensive. So here is a good example, a Brother sewing machine. It's got the dial, so it's not digitalized, but it's got all your basic stitches. It's actually got more than enough there. It's got a reverse lever. This is a pretty good machine, and it's only 2,400 Rand. That's pretty good. Obviously, you would have to look at the specs and make sure everything's okay, but on face value, that's pretty good. There's another Brother one, 2,500 bucks. I mean, you get even more stitches. The dial, this one looks a little bit newer. Yeah, this looks really good. 1,500 Rand, and look at all those stitches. My goodness. This is pretty good. Brand new, unused. That's really good. Is a Singer heavy duty, and it's going for 5,000. That's actually pretty good. And it comes with the box and the cover and all the little bits and bobs. That's very good. As you can see, I mean, I could sit and go on for ages. Here's a Bernina. Ooh, that looks fancy. See, there's a digitalized one for 6.5. That's really good. And you could probably like bargain it down even more. Wow, it comes with the case. That's really nice. So, you've got your machine now, and this is where the PDF is going to come into play. Cover, very cutesy. We've got a welcome page. Basically, this video and this guide coincides because I'm going to be doing the machine exercises with you. The main thing is that you want to de-thread your machine, so there should be no thread on the top and no thread in the bobbin. We're going to just be using the needle that's going to pierce the paper. That's going to mark your route. On page 3, we just have some basic terminology that I think is quite important to learn. It's very basic. There's no need to get flustered about it. So stitch length determines the length of each stitch. The longer the stitch, the less secure the stitch. So if you decrease your stitch length, the stitch will start to get smaller, and that means that you will have very, very little stitch all the way down your garment. If you increase your stitch length, you can make gathers, you can make basting stitches, and it's basically the longer your stitches, the more temporary your stitches will be. Now, stitch width is when you adjust the width of the stitch. Now, this doesn't apply to a straight stitch because you can't make a straight stitch wider. However, this is like zigzag stitches, decorative stitches, things like that. And essentially, if you decrease the width of your zigzag stitch, your zigzag will be smaller. If you increase the width of your stitch, it will be wider. And the same principle applies, is that the wider your stitch, the less secure, the narrower your width, the more secure. In sewing, we have different types of needles. The main ones that I use are universal needles. Universal needles can be used on any type of fabric. Your needle will determine the quality of your make. If you are using the wrong needle for the wrong fabric, you will find that you damage your fabric. You will find that the stitches aren't nice, bunch up, and it just doesn't look very appealing. So I've got my little collection of needles. I mean, these you can thrift. You don't have to buy these brand new, but they are fairly cheap from the sewing shop. Just like the actual needle at the bottom is different. So either it's more rounded or it's more sharp. and each of them do different things. So like a stretch one, I think it's a little bit more rounded so it doesn't make holes in your fabric. So the next term that we have in sewing is a presser foot. You get different presser feet for different tasks that you perform on your machine. Zag, buttonhole, embroidery, straight stitch, achieve different results. This is like your standard presser foot. This is what we are going to be using today. You do have different presser feet. So you got like a buttonhole. This is like an overlocker one. So basically, if you try to use the same presser foot for all the different functions, it won't work. For example, if you don't have a space wide enough in your presser foot for a zigzag, it's just gonna break your needle because you're gonna hit the presser foot. So yeah, presser feet are really cool and you can add to your collection. So you can get like gathering presser foot, you can get a rolled hem one, you can, oh my gosh, and basically they just make your life so much easier. And the last term that is important for today is tension. Controls the tightness of your stitches, making sure that the seams are even and secure. If you have not enough tension, your stitches will be loose, and what you'll find is that your garment will break apart quite quickly. If you have too much tension, your fabric will kind of bunch together. We don't want that either. We want that sweet spot in the middle. You have dials on your machine where you can change the tension. Obviously it's fun to play around and see what your machine does, but once you kind of have your tension, you want to make sure that you remember where that tension is. It's hard to get that balance back. So just take a photo before you change anything. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different stitches. You're going to be focusing on the two basic stitches that you need to know as a beginner: a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. It's listed in the PDF just like they're used for, just so you have a general understanding and it can make a little bit more sense. Essentially, a straight stitch is the most basic and most used stitch. It is used when joining fabric pieces together to create seams, creating hems and top stitching. Stitch length can be adjusted based on type of fabric. A zigzag stitch is like that. It can be used to enclose raw edges instead of an overlock stitch. This is an overlocker over here. I use this overlocker to enclose my raw edges, so it gives it a clean finish like that. So it encloses all the raw edges, so there's no raw edges on the inside of the garment. It just makes it look nice and clean, and it also protects the integrity of your garment. So ideal for stretchy fabric to allow stretch and elastic to see. I've used a straight stitch instead of a zigzag stitch on stretchy fabric, so like stretchy cotton or stretch knit or costume material. And what happens is if you don't have any give in those seams, when you wear it, you can hear your seams popping, and that's basically all your stitches. Like, adios, they're out of here. They are snapping, they are gone, and then obviously your garment falls apart. It can be used to create decorative hems or seams on stretchy fabric, such as a lettuce hem. So a lettuce hem is on stretchy fabric. It has like a little wave at the bottom or on the cuff. It's really cute, and you can do that by stretching your fabric and sewing a zigzag. I have done it before, and it's a really nice way to finish stretchy fabric. We have got machine exercises now. Machine exercises, we have a straight stitch, which is basically just up and down. We've got wavy stitches, which is a little bit more curves. We've got corners. We've got more curves like this. So we are going to be starting with the very easy straight stitch first. Just again, make sure that you have no thread in your machine. It is just your needle. Needle position will default to sitting straight in the middle. That's fine. We don't have to change that. I'm going to use lines as the guide. We are sewing on top of the printed lines. Battle with, especially myself when I was learning, is that I was watching the needle instead of watching the presser foot. Don't watch the needle. Have a look here. The line sits right in between that little part of the presser foot. That is what we are going to watch, not the needle. And as you kind of go along, you'll see that you'll make markings on your page. That is going to trace your steps. Once you get your confidence, you can definitely speed up, but I would suggest for the first few, just kind of go as straight as you can, nice and slow. And also, when you're controlling whether it's fabric or your paper, there's no need to like have a firm grip. Just kind of let the feed dogs, which are the thing underneath your presser foot, the little tracks, and that feeds through your paper. So like if I don't even hold my machine, my hands are here, it kind of goes through on its own and it's going straight like that. So there's no need to hold your paper down or your fabric down with a lot of force. The machine kind of does it on its own. You're just guarding the fabric and guarding the paper. That is our first one. So lift your needle up, lift up your presser foot, and we have our first row done. If you look on the reverse side, you'll be able to see it a little bit better with all the little dots here. That is your path. So just letting the sewing machine kind of feed it through. I'm literally like feeding it through with my 2 fingers. I'm not holding it down. I'm letting the machine do its thing. And then as you get confident, you can sew faster and faster. And this is what you will be left with, is kind of those little holes on the reverse side, and this is what it looks like on the right side. This is a wavy stitch, and essentially it's a straight stitch, but in a wave. It's not a wavy stitch. Clarification. And basically this is going to teach how to maneuver the paper in the direction that you want without putting too much tension. I'm going to start with the top right hand corner. That's what we want, the line in between there. And again, you are piercing on top of the line. So if you had to just let the machine feed through, it will go straight. When you start to see that the line is disappearing from underneath your needle, it's then time to move your paper. So just very gently moving your paper in the direction that you want to go, like so. Not too much tension, not too much control, just maneuver, nice and slow. Once you're done, needle up, presser foot up, and then you go to the next line. If you go slow, it is a lot easier. If you go fast, then you obviously lose your tracks. This is actually such good practice for myself as well. It's nice to get a refresh of the basics, you know. So again, just very light pressure, turning as we go. Can you see I'm just maneuvering my fabric to go with the line? Very light. So here's a big curve coming up. So if I had to keep going straight, obviously it wouldn't follow the line. So I'm just going to turn it a little bit this way. And then it goes on the line. Like so. This is what it's going to look like on the reverse side. All your little puncture holes. And on the right side, corners. Going to start on this line over here. Again, making sure the line is in between the presser foot in the front, and the needle will be piercing on top of the line. So again, these are nice straight lines, so you've already done your straight line page. So this is pretty simple. You can go a bit faster if you want to, but again, stick to a nice pace that you're comfortable with. Now, we're coming up to a corner, and you go, uh-oh, I can't maneuver my page, what do I do? So you go right up until the corner, there. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift up your presser foot. The needle is still in the page. Make sure that the needle is in the page. And I'm going to turn my page like so. And then I'm going to put my presser foot down, making sure the line is in between the presser foot again. And then you sew. Now, when you start getting closer, go a bit slower so you can get that point perfectly. So going slow, I think maybe 2 more, 1 more. Okay, needles in the page, lifting up my presser foot, turning my page, putting my presser foot down, and then we go. We are coming to the end of the line, and now you got no more lines to follow. On your presser foot, you have different guards. So you've got like 2 lines on either foot of your presser foot, and I can see that the inner line is following the line on the page. So can you see there's 1, 2 lines here, 1, 2 lines here. We're following that line there. It's sitting on the line. Made a square. I'm gonna put that presser foot mark on the line that I've created now. And that's basically what we do over and over again until we get into the middle. And it's not too bad. I definitely went a bit wonk at some point. So obviously if you go a bit skew, that's the line that you follow, but not too bad. Exercise number 4. Now this is why I suggested leaving this one to the end, because as you can see, it combines all of the previous exercises in one. We are following the right hand line first. The line is in between the presser foot in the front, and we go. Following that line, marking the first line. Okay, so we're coming to the corner. Now what do we do when we come to corners? Like in the previous exercise, we go till the needle is on the corner. We lift our presser foot up, turn the paper. So let's go slowly. One more, stop. Needles in the paper, lift it up, turn. Make sure that the line is in between the little presser foot in the front. And we do another straight line. That's good. Needles in the paper, pick it up, turn. And now we have a curve. So what do we do when we have a curve? We slightly maneuver the fabric. Bring your fabric very gently with your fingers. We come into the curve gently. My camera decided to die at that very moment. Very rude, but let's carry on until it dies again. Let's carry on around the curve. Just pushing the paper nice and easy. I'm literally pushing with one finger. Around until we come on the line straight, and then we're coming to another corner. So we slowly, one more, yeah, pick up, turn, and we go back on the line. So now we're coming to where we create our own lines to follow. Okay, so I'm at the end there. So again, we're looking for the guard on the actual presser foot, not the needle. You can see there's that little line that I'm gonna follow. I'm keeping it in the line with that line. Okay, we're coming up to a corner. So go slow. I think one more. You pick it up, turn the paper, and you put it back down. And can you see? In a line, in a line. And then we go. Finished. And I must say, I actually really enjoyed this. It's quite therapeutic. If you're ready for the next step and you are wanting to add fabric and you want to kind of practice with fabric, you are now going to thread your machine. And you're going to find a piece of plain scrap fabric. You don't want one with patterns or any crazy designs, because you're not going to be able to see your path too clearly. And you are going to choose a very bright thread. Once you have threaded your machine, you're going to put your piece of fabric on the machine first. You can take your paper and put it on top of your fabric. So when threading a machine, your thread will normally go on the top no matter what machine that you have. And there will be some similar path of like hooking here, going down, hooking up, and then going back into the needle. All sewing machines follow that type of pattern. Obviously, every machine is threaded differently, but that is generally the path. Now, when you thread your machine, you don't want to pull too tight, even tension, and just kind of pull through as you go to the guards. And then this is your bobbin casing. Some machines have a bobbin underneath. Mine is a top-loaded bobbin, and you kind of just pop it off, and then you pop your bobbin in here. You have the tail sticking out of the plate. I've chosen red thread just because it's nice and bright, and I'm going to pop it in the top of my machine, making sure that I've got a nice amount of a tail. Pop it on, Make sure it's nice and secure like so. Then I'll take my tail and I'll just follow the guide. So I go there, up, around, down, making sure I'm hitting all the little markers, and then thread the needle. Mine has an automatic threader, which honestly, lifesaver. It definitely saves a lot of time. And that is the top of my machine threaded. You can see my bobbin thread, and then you kind of just bring it together. I've got my plain white piece of scrap fabric, straight stitch. So I'm gonna pop that on. It doesn't have to be secured down or anything. And essentially, we just do exactly what we did. And when you sew, just make sure that there's enough of the thread on the side and just gently hold it so that it doesn't unthread itself. So let's go. Now when you come to the end, you can lift your needle up, lift your presser foot, and then you kind of pull it out. Now what you'll have to do now, because obviously we got the threads attached, you'll need to cut it. You snip it like so. Again, making sure that everything is here. This is what the top stitching will look like. And if we flip it to the reverse side, this is the bobbin thread. Remember how I said stitch length and stitch width and all of that terminology in the beginning? So my machine, this is the width and this is the length. I'm going to increase the length to show you guys. So that is the maximum amount of length that my machine can go. And now I'm going to show you what happens when I do that. If we have a look, not very straight, Hannah, you see that this stitch length is much wider than the normal. And if we flip it over, you can see a difference here too. So that is the bobbin thread. Decrease my stitch length, maybe do 1. Have a look, you can barely see the stitches. That's how small it is. So this is like normal. This is maximum amount of length, and then this is the smallest. Very small. And if we flip it over, there you can see it better. Let's try a zigzag stitch. Mine's quite easy. It has a zigzag stitch there, and then it automatically puts the right length and width. Here is our very skew zigzag stitch. That is what it looks like. Now let's increase the width of a zigzag stitch and see what happens. Increase it to the max. This is the increase the stitch width. So can you see it's quite a big difference from the previous one that we did? Here you can see. Let's decrease the stitch width and see what happens. And here we have the smallest stitch width. Small, large, normal. Small, large, normal. Now for the last one, I'm going to increase the stitch width and increase the stitch length for a zigzag, and let's see what happens. Here we go. Can you see it's not very secure? So this would be a basting stitch, or yeah, not something that you would use to secure seams for sure. And that is all the machine exercises I have for you guys. And essentially it's just playing with your machine, learning your machine. The best thing that you can do is gain confidence with your tools. And the more confidence you have, the more likely you will experiment and play around and see that it's actually not so daunting. Pretty much once you've done and played around with this, with the fabric, with just the paper, you can pretty much start your first proper project. You'll have a much better understanding of your machine and how it works. And you'll know all the different terms that beginners need to know when starting their sewing journey. And I also have to say, as a person with previous sewing experience, it was actually so nice to get a refresh of the basics. So if you are someone with previous sewing experience, this is for you too. Just a reminder that all of this is free. The PDF is free. You can print it yourself at home and just have some fun. Don't be scared. You guys have got this. I believe in you. The first step is just literally sitting at your machine and starting. So go for it. You can do it. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Style Me Hannah family. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. like the video. You can comment what you thought. Do you like the series? Is it something that you are interested in? So I know that I must make an episode 2. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you for joining me and spending this time with me. And if you do try this out, please can you follow me on Instagram and send me through your progress. I would absolutely love to be part of your sewing journey. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to pop me a message on Instagram. Come and join me over on that side and let's become sewing besties. Other than that, everybody, I'm gonna love and leave you. I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.